Hello and welcome to Ask Amanda Now. This is our short Friday afternoon session. We are live over on the Your Strata Property Facebook page. We're also heading out, I hope, to LinkedIn, out to YouTube. It's lovely to be here with you. This is our first live chat of 2023. So I'm very excited to say Happy New Year to all of you. Welcome to another big, fabulous, productive, exciting, terrifying year in Strata. I hope you have had a lovely festive season. You've been able to rest, spend some time with friends and family. That's what I've been doing this week. I am in Sydney and I am visiting my parents. I am tucked away once again in a corner of their home to get what I hope might be 10, 15 minutes or so of peace, uninterrupted time. I'm not in the ironing room this time. Those of you who caught my chat with ABC Sydney Radio Breakfast earlier in the week, it was Monday. The week has gone by so fast. That was a Monday morning chat, and I posted a little bit on this page and shared a little video of me doing the interview in my mum's ironing room, not where I am today, somewhere different. Great to be here live with you. If you are coming on in and want to say hi, feel free to post here in the comments. I'm going to do a really quick whip over there. I can see lots of you here live. Great to have you tuning in on this Friday afternoon. It's a wet and wild one in Sydney. I'm actually a little bit a bit rushed to get here on time today. I was stuck in that Sydney wet weather traffic. It doesn't take long when you live in the country to forget how bad the city traffic is and throw some wet weather in there too. And I've just made it. So I'm glad for that. Daryl is here saying good afternoon. Hey, Daryl, great to see you. Happy New Year, Sean O'Day. Thank you for that. Happy New Year. Cheryl, hey, Happy New Year to you, Cheryl. And Peter is here saying hi, everyone. How are you doing, Peter? All right, so lots of you here live. No doubt many of you catching the replay as well. Maybe this topic has caught your attention. If you know what it is, I don't think I've posted on the page yet what the topic is. If you are on our email list, you would have got an email earlier this afternoon letting you know what I plan to chat about here on Ask Amanda Now. We are talking about co-owner voting rights. How do our co-owners, that's where we have a property that has more than one owner, more than one person or entity registered on the title as the owner of the property, how do those people, co-owners, vote at general meetings of the owners corporation? So really great question. If you saw in my email today that I had chosen that one to have a quick chat about here on this afternoon session, then that's what you're here for. And we are going to get stuck into that one. If you are not on our email list and you don't receive those reminders during the week about the podcast, about our live chats, then you want to head on over to yourstrataproperty.com.au, and that's where you can sign up to get all of that good stuff, and you will not miss a thing in 2023. Hey, Danielle, I can see you coming in. Hey, David, good to see you. Happy New Year to everyone. Now, if you are not familiar with this format, the Ask Amanda Now format, it is a shorter format to our usual Friday live. So I tend to alternate each week depending on what the schedule is, and we're on a bit of a holiday schedule at the moment. One week we'll do an hour-long Friday live chat. Maybe I'll have a guest. I'll do a full wrap-up of what's been happening in Strata for the week. And then other Fridays, it's 10 or 15 minutes or so when I'm between meetings, when I'm wrapping up a long lunch, when I'm doing the mum school holiday thing, which is what I'm doing today, I will jump on and answer one, not two, not 11, one Strata question, usually from somebody who has posted a really great, short, sharp question on the page or sent it through to me on email when we put the call out on a Thursday for a question, the kind of question that's going to help a lot of people, a general question about strata rules, strata law, and experience that others may be having in their community as well. They're always really good ones to ask and get featured here on Ask Amanda Now. Hey Petra, Happy New Year to you. And the person who I thought did a great job at doing that this week was Ron. And Ron posted his question here on this page, and we have a summary here popping up on the screen. Ron has asked, how do we interpret the law about co-owner voting rights? That wasn't exactly Ron's question. We have summarized it here so that it fits into our banner. If you want to check out Ron's full question, you can scroll down further. I think the post below this video, you'll see Ron's full question there. But basically, Ron was saying, Amanda, I have had a look at the New South Wales law, the Strata Schemes Management Act 2015. That is our strata law in New South Wales. And it seems to me, says Ron, that if there are co-owners of one lot, more than one person owns one lot, those owners should attend the meeting together if they want to vote, whether that's a meeting in person or a meeting that's being held electronically, or if they can't attend together, they should sign a proxy form, and that proxy form should nominate one single co-owner who will attend the meeting and who will be able to vote. That's how Ron understood the legislation. And I will take you to, I'll share with you the relevant legislation. But Ron went on to say that he found it a bit confusing when he continued to read on those parts of our legislation. There seemed to be an internal contradiction there that made things a little bit confusing when it came to trying to work out how co-owners can legally cast their votes at meetings of the owners corporation. So Ron's asked for some assistance. I am happy to provide that here in today's session. What I'm going to do is share with you part of my screen that I have here. And this is what I prepared earlier. This is part 4 in Schedule 1 to the Strata Schemes Management Act. Schedule 1 contains all of the very practical, very useful meeting procedures for our general meetings. It's a really good part of our legislation to have handy, to be aware of. If you are looking for procedures about strata committee meetings rather than general meetings, then you want to have a look at Schedule 2. But for today, we are having a look at Part 4 in Schedule 1, and specifically clause, we call this a clause because it's in a schedule, Clause 23 in Schedule 1, persons entitled to vote at general meetings. And this is the legislation that Ron is referring to in his question. I'm just going to scroll down here to the section about co-owners. It's in subsection 4 here. Exercise of voting rights by co-owners to be by proxy. That's kind of like a heading. It reads a bit strangely here on Austlii, but that's like a heading, and then it proceeds to give us the content of the clause. And here it says the voting rights of co-owners of a lot may not be exercised by them individually. So just because there's 2 owners of a single lot, it doesn't mean that they get 2 votes. But their vote may be exercised by a proxy, who may be one of them, or as provided by subclause 5. So we're going to talk about subclause 5 and how it sits with 4. But I just want to address this point about co-owners exercising their voting rights by proxy. So this means that they can fill in a proxy form in the same way that any owner can fill in a proxy form before a meeting and appoint another person to act as their proxy and vote on their behalf at the general meeting. They have to fill in that proxy in accordance with the legal requirements. That means that the proxy form has to be signed by both of them, because our proxy forms have to be signed by the owner of the lot. If the owner of the lot is 2 people, then that proxy form should be signed by 2 people. And I'm using the example of 2 people because that's the most common. You might have a married couple, you might have a partnership. 2 people own the same property, but there could be more. There could be more than 2 people. There could be a property that's owned by 4 people. But all of those people are owners, and all of them must sign the proxy form. And they can appoint their fellow co-owner to be their proxy, or they can appoint any other person to be their proxy at that meeting. So yes, Ron's picked this up. Co-owners can vote. One of them can vote at a meeting if they're holding a proxy form, but they don't have to. They don't have to appoint a proxy because we have subclause 5. And Ron was a little bit confused about how subclause 5 sits with subclause 4. And what it means is that 5 is just another option. It's another voting option for co-owners if they don't want to, or haven't gone around to, or haven't thought about filling in a proxy form. It is an other circumstance. You can see those words here, an other circumstance in which co-owners may exercise their voting rights. They can do it either by proxy or by one of these methods that is here in subclause 5. So if they are not filling in a proxy and exercising a vote by way of a proxy form, then one of them can act as a proxy. It doesn't say fill in a form. It says they can act as a proxy, and I read that to mean act as if they were a proxy. If their other co-owners are absent from the meeting, their partner is not there, the other co-owner is not there at the meeting, or if they are, then they have given their consent to that owner voting as if they were a proxy. Or if that paragraph doesn't apply because both owners or all co-owners are there at the meeting, then one co-owner can vote if he or she is the owner first named on the strata roll. Their name actually appears on the strata roll first. It's the first name there. Those are the ways that co-owners can vote at general meetings of the owners corporation. Any of these ways. Fill in a proxy form by the normal method, do it properly, sign it, date it, state the proxy's name, that's subclause 4. Or turn up to the meeting, and if you're the only co-owner there, then you can act as if you were a proxy. You don't need the form. You can act as if you were a proxy because your other co-owner is absent. Or if your co-owner is there, they allow you, they give you consent to vote on behalf of the lot. Or if the person who is voting is the owner first named on the strata roll as one of the co-owners. So those are the various ways that our co-owners can vote at general meetings of the owners corporation. I can see here, I've just come back to my video screen, and I can see that the screen share that I'm giving you is a little bit small. It's a little bit small on my side, so it might be a little bit small on your side too. We definitely have a link directly to Schedule 1 where you can check out Clause 23 and revise those co-owner voting rights if you haven't been able to see that there on your small screen. But that, I'm just going to go back to Ron's questions and some of the further details that I have in my notes here from his question. That interaction between subclause 4, which is about formally appointing a co-owner with a proxy form, and subclause 5, I appreciate can be confusing, but they are not mutually exclusive, and it is possible for co-owners to vote while holding a proxy form that is signed by all owners, or by simply being the only co-owner who is present, the other co-owners are absent, by having the consent of their fellow co-owner, or by being the name first listed on the strata roll. So there's four circumstances in which co-owners can vote, and they all work together. Ron has asked, and I appropriated his words for the subject line of my email earlier this afternoon. Ron has asked, is this a bit of a mess? Is this section a little bit of a mess when it comes to co-owner voting rights? And I think the drafting probably could have been a little tidier, that's for sure, Ron, and I appreciate the confusion. It is something that I have had to revisit a few times myself over the years, advising owners in your position and advising strata managers who are trying to work out the validity of co-owner voting rights. So it's a really great one to go back and to revisit. And it certainly does only apply to general meetings. That was part of Ron's question. This provision, is this only for general meetings? Yes, those are not relevant to committee meetings. If a co-owner is a committee member, we don't have that same system for proxy voting at committee meetings. This is definitely only for general meetings. Sorry, just one sec. I don't know if I've gone offline there. Hopefully I'm coming back. My phone just rang. I didn't put my phone on Do Not Disturb and it just rang. So you disappeared. I don't know if I disappeared, but I'm here. Yes, so only for general meetings, that proxy, that clause 23 in Schedule 1 of our legislation. Rosie is asking a question, how are the residents notified of voting rights? Do you mean, Rosie, in terms of the co-owners themselves? How do co-owners work out whether or not, how they vote? That's a really good question, and it would be a great idea, I think, for strata managers who are perhaps wanting to provide that next level of service to be informing new owners when they buy in. If they are co-owners, hey, by the way, you're a co-owner, these are your options for voting at general meetings of the owners corporation. Sarah is the first named on the strata plan, so Sally is, even if she attends the meeting, she doesn't have to give a proxy. Sarah is the one who votes because she is the first named on the strata plan. Alternatively, you can fill in a proxy form, you can give your consent at the meeting. Wouldn't that be great if brand new owners in strata, co-owners in particular, were getting that kind of education right at the beginning about how they can vote? Because otherwise we end up with these questions and this confusion down the track when we're wondering, as chairs who are chairing meetings, who are calculating votes, strata managers who are calculating votes, whether or not votes have been cast properly. Thank you, Daryl, and thank you, team. I got a message as well. I didn't disappear. So if you saw me lift up my phone, just cast a quick text message. I was just turning it off. Good. I'm glad, no interruption. Daryl is saying, as a strata manager holding meetings, I clarify voting rights to all present before commencing with the first motion. Love it. Very good process there, and one that I recommend also. All right, excellent. Now, I hope that has been helpful, and this video now is a really great resource for anyone who is looking for clarification on co-owner voting rights. Ron, if you're coming back around to have a listen to this video, if you're there, let me know. If you're coming back around to catch the replay, let me know if this has helped you and if this has clarified those, yes, somewhat messy sections in our legislation. They're not the only sections that get a little bit messy here in strata land. It's why I love it. It's why I enjoy this part of the law so much, and I definitely enjoy being here, being able to answer those questions, these questions for you. There's been a lot happening, even though it has been holidays, even though it has been, my office has been quiet. I know strata managers' offices have been quiet, if not closed, I hope. There's been a lot going on in terms of media in strata. I've been talking about smoking, and Brenton and Lynette's case got some attention from the Sydney Morning Herald a couple of weeks ago. We have been talking about electric vehicle charging. There's been some attention in that direction. There's a lot going on that I've slowly been making a list to talk to you all about this time next week in our longer Friday Live session. This time next week, I think I will be back in Mudgee this time next week, well settled. So I am very much looking forward to spending more time with you then and wrapping up all of that fun stuff that's been happening in our world and easing in to another big year in strata. Thank you, everybody, for being here with me live. I'm going to head out and take my wet shoes and socks off now and try to dry off a little bit. Enjoy your weekends, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.